Hello everyone and welcome. Today I'm hoping this is going to be a quick video because I have an additional video going up tomorrow that's a bit exciting because a few of us on the creative design team are doing an impromptu collab on a specific set of photos from our trip when we went to Vancouver. But I do try to regularly post on Tuesdays. So I'm going to scrapbook this photo of my parents that was taken, I believe it was in 1970 when we were up in Surfers Paradise for a family holiday. And we went out over to Scrapbook Island, and part of the trip we were able to get on these boards behind the boat, and this photo was taken of them and I absolutely love it. My brother and I actually got to go out on these as well, but I have already scrapbooked that one in my Book of Me album. I have an album where I just put favourite photos, things that I look at that make me happy, and I wanted to put this photo in that album. So I thought I'd do a quick simple layout for this because for me the photo is a little bit of a highlight here, and I'm going to do some hidden journaling for it, but I'm thinking I might just put this slap in the middle of the page. And then I was thinking about colours. So Mum is wearing a bright pink bathing cap here. It's got flowers on it. She's got her pale pink bikini, and Dad is in his very groovy orange and black striped swimming trunks. And they had a ball out here on this, and I remember that Dad was asked to put Mum up on his shoulders while they were going behind here. They both used to water ski, but they couldn't quite get that to work. So this is the photo I have of them. Now I went through my scraps of paper. I keep them in colour families, and I pulled out some oranges and some pinks. Now, these are not normally colours that I would put together. The tone of the board here is a little bit red, but I wanted to do orange and pink because that's what my parents are wearing. So I'm thinking this is like a PML card. I don't even know what one that's from, but I quite liked the stripe. So I think that might go across the top here like this. And then I wanted to replicate the stripe in my father's bathing trunks here. And I couldn't find an orange and black one, but I did find this one here, and I thought that might work well if I mirror what I'm doing at the top with the bottom and have the stripes on both of these. Now this stripe here is actually a dark blue colour. I think it's Harbour, but I think it's going to work. And then I want to frame this out a little bit more. So I'm going to go for a linear design. And when I put my adhesive down, I have to remember to put the adhesive just on the outside pieces here because I'm going to tuck a tag down behind this for my journaling. And I'm not even sure I'm going to do stamping on this page at this stage. So I'm just looking at what might work. I'm thinking this might work because Mum's bathers are a light pink, so I'm keeping the pinks at the top and then going down to the oranges at the bottom. And when it came to orange pattern paper, I really didn't have that much to choose from. I think this side is a little bit too busy, so I think this side's going to work. So I'm going to trim this down to a 6-inch piece so I know how much I've got to play with. So I've just trimmed off those awkward cuts. I think I'd use this piece for doing some cricket cuts, so that's why it was a little bit weird with the shapes cut in it. But I think this works quite well because it brings in the orange from Dad's swimming trunks, and the pinks are working quite well for me here. I was thinking of bringing in this one because it's a little bit of fun. It's a little bit like waves with this semicircle pattern, but I think the difference is just too much and it's bringing in too much of a pattern paper. I have some other spots here. And the spots sort of remind me of Mum's, I think this was like a rubber type swimming cap and it had circles on it with florals. So maybe I'll bring in the brighter one and put that across the top because I've got a heavy colour at the bottom and maybe a heavy colour at the top. I'm not sure if I like that. That might be a bit too strong. So I've got this one. Close to My Heart used to do sample packs and you could put them on a little ring, but I've taken those off. So I could use that one there and I don't mind that. I've got black here for my matte. So maybe I should have matted that in the Harbour, but I want to bring in some black lettering that I've got left over from a title kit. So maybe I'll work it like that. Maybe I will bring back in this paler one. I'm not sure. I do like a heavier weight, and that includes dark colours at the bottom of the page. So I do have a larger piece of this, so maybe that will go across the top here. I think that'll work quite well. There's a deeper pink colour. It's almost a melon colour here that matches in with Mum's bathing cap. So I think I'm going to cut these down to make this work. I'm actually going to keep this as a full sheet because it's going to serve as a bit of protection when I slide my tag in. So the photo width here, the photo mats are all 6 inches. So I'm going to trim the top off this and then work out from there. I'll make this stripe the same height as this one. And then I'm going to work out from what's remaining once I've adhered these down how large these have to be because I want to leave a white gap at the bottom as well to frame everything out. I know this is a very unexpected colour combination, but I think it works with these photos and I love how this is looking. Now I have left an area here that's about 2.5 inches for my tag to go down inside so that I can do my journaling. So I'm just going to slide this down. So I know this is where I want to trim because I've put adhesive across one section here to make it stop. So I need to cut this little piece off at the top here. I might actually bring a little bit of orange back onto the top of the tag. I'm going to see how that's going to work. But I want to measure this so I know where to trim this piece because I can have a little tag sticking up from my page protector here. So I'm just going to get out my page protector, and when this sits in the album, you can see, even though this is an 8.5 by 11 inch memory protector, it does go up a little bit higher, even though I've cut this piece here to 8.5 by 11 inches. So I want my tag to pop up a little bit above this memory protector so that it's easy to pull out. So for a start, I'm going to cut it here because I can always trim it off a little bit more. I'm just going to get my trimmer out and slice this. And I know I've shown this before on my channel, but I'm going to create my own tag. So I'm just going to trim off the edge, turn that around to use as a guide so that things are all nice and equal. I used to line everything up and draw little pencil marks, but I always seem to get it a little bit wrong. So this is actually easier for me to do than using a pencil, and I don't have to rub out the pencil marks at the end. So now I need to put a hole in here in the middle. But what I think I might do is maybe decorate the top. So I'm going to have a look at what colour I think is going to work best for this. I'm just going to slide that down. This is where it stops. I've got some cut off pieces here from creating these sections. So I'm thinking, do I want a tag topper to be orange and that brings the orange back in? Do I want to do it with the stripes and that brings the stripe back in, but it's a little bit too much pattern paper? I could put a matching one here. Actually, I think the orange is going to be what works for me. So before I punch my hole, I'm going to adhere this to my tag, and I'm going to be pretty generous with the tape runner here because I want it to adhere and stick. And I'm going to put it so that it's across from point to point here. Actually, I might put it on the back as well. If I have more to say about this, I can always journal on the back. So that covers that piece. I can turn this over and trim this out just with my scissors because it's quite easy to do. And then I'm going to cover the back of the tag with dot roller as well. Just make sure I haven't got any adhesive stuck to my Versamat there. And adhere this from point to point. So I'm just rubbing away the additional dot roller that I had on there. And I need to trim that off. Oh, I could have used that little extra pattern. But I think I like the fact that it matches with what I've already got on there. So I'm just going to trim this out and then punch a hole in the top. So I'm going to use my mat here to determine where the center is and draw a little hole. And then I'm going to use my hole punch here to make just a small hole. I've got a single hole punch that I could use, but I don't want it quite that big because I've only got a small area here. So I'm going to use this one to put the hole in. Just need to unscrew that and put in the size that I need. These are really handy tools. I will put a link to it in the description below because it means I can put a hole further down in a page protector or whatever I want. I'm not restricted by how far I can put a regular hole punch in there. I always do this on top of one of my die cutting plates. I'm going through 3 layers here. So I just want to be careful and not force this too much. I might have to do a couple of passes with this, but it's gone through just fine. So it's very important when you use one of these. I've had one broken recently, and it's very important when you use these that you go straight up and down and you don't push down too much, because you don't want to force all this mechanism to collapse on itself up inside this little barrel here. So there's my tag done. I'll put a little bit of twine on that later, so I need to go through my stash to see what I've got for that. But this way people know that there is journaling under here so that they can pull it up and read the story behind the photo. So the letters that I've got are from this old Close to My Heart die cut titles. I've still got a couple of the titles left in here, but it came in a panel with all of them out, and you just push them out and they're like little chipboard pieces. So I thought that it would be fun to put these letters across the stripe here and across the bottom down here. I'm not quite sure how the black is going to look on this, but I think I'm going to use Sweet Life. I keep losing them. Here it is. There's the Sweet. The Life is a little bit too large to go across this piece. So I'm just going to see how this looks, and then I can rest these on top of the orange that's underneath here. Oops, I can't spell backwards. So here we go. I like how it's staggered like this. I'm not sure about it being on top of this stripy paper. I think it stands out just enough. So I'm going to adhere those down and then think about what elements I can bring in, if any, to jazz this up a little bit. I don't know that I need to bring in terribly much. I might just put some dots on here, because for me, the focus is coming into the photo with the graduation of colours here, and then the title is helping frame this along with the double matting of the photo. So I'm going to adhere this down and have a little look in my embellishments to see if I can find something that will work. I know I've got some stickers and things that might work with this, but I want the focus to be on this photo. So this just might be a quick, simple and easy page where I don't overthink too much about extra embellishments. I've got my title stuck down. I actually trimmed a little bit off the bottom of this tag because there was a little bit too much white there. And I've gone through my embellishments and I've got the black hearts die cuts, which are another chipboard thing that Close to My Heart used to do. I love that we used to be able to get these big titles and also some matching little embellishments as well. And I'm thinking the hearts might work well because my parents are basically inseparable. They always have been. And this was a family holiday, but later on, when they retired, they had a caravan and they used to go up to Queensland all the time. So I think I'm going to journal about those memories when I use this tag, and I'll probably type it up so that I can write a lot more there than what I would do with my handwriting. So rather than putting some dots and things on here, I think the black will work really well and will team in with my photo mat, and it will also team in with my title that I've got here. I love this little open one, so I'm just going to put that off the edge here and then put these ones down. So I'm just going to get my pick tool here and pick this up and just put a little bit of glue there. It doesn't need much because the glue does spread a little bit. This one I'll put a little bit more, maybe a little bit more than that because it hasn't come off my tool here. I'll just help it a little bit. And I think that might be it. I might call this done. This could be the quickest page I have ever put together and the most surprising one by teaming totally different patterns all together and different color tones together. I do feel there is a little bit of orange in this stripe here, and that sort of lends it in towards these ones. This is a much stronger pattern, but it really helps with these photos. So I think for the twine, I'll look for some black twine to go on the top of this, and then my page will be done. Quick, fast, easy, just framing it down the side here on an 8.5 by 11 page to put in my album of just random memories that I love. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I hope to see you next time. Happy crafting and bye for now.